box number 2 said Steve Tucker, and the title of this speech is "Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death Panels." Thank you. You have 15 minutes, Steve.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. My name is Steve Tucker. I'm here representing the Chicago Tea Party. Hopefully there's some supporters. Hello. Today, I want to discuss patient protection, the Affordable Care Act, and the Supplemental Reconciliation Bill. How many have read it?
Your box up.
Anyone?
Your box up. We can't hear you. Shout it out.
All right. Well, how many people have read it?
Back off.
How many people have read the legislation?
It's not otherwise known as Obamacare. It's not Obamacare.
So if that's the case, if you haven't read it, that's why most of
Most in Congress can't read.
Here.
The reason I have a problem with it is because I've been an evil health insurance broker for 15 years.
So you're one of the leeches living off the rest of us that get money from us and then don't insure us, don't pay for it when we have problems with our health care.
Very well. What's the rest of your talking points? Can you go through them all?
No, I'm just waiting for you to go.
Good. By the way, did you read the legislation?
All of it. Every single word, sir.
All 2,700?
Yes, and I'm sure you have too.
Let me tell you about it.
That's not the way it works.
One of the reasons that Obamacare
Oh, Dad, I thought you'd stop
is
drinking.
because we have a law known as HIPAA. And in HIPAA law, there's a section called portability. And in the portability section, it says if you have a pre-existing condition and you're on a group health insurance policy, if you move from that policy to another group health insurance policy, no one ever asks you about pre-existing conditions. Any of your employers ever ask you how much you weigh, what prescription drugs you're on, and if you have a pre-existing condition. That ever happen? Why doesn't that happen? Because federal HIPAA portability law protects you.
It was written for, oh, isn't that nice? I'm going to back up.
Go ahead, you back off now.
Now I can back up.
Getting that arranged with tomatoes. Keep going.
So 14 years ago, there was a law called HIPAA written. It was written by Congress, and it protects 90% of the American insured. Okay? They don't have to worry about pre-existing conditions because if they have 18 months of prior coverage, and they don't have a lapse of more than 63 days, they go to a new group policy, they're protected against all pre-existing conditions.
90%, not 100.
90%. That's correct. So my question is, why, when the legislation was written, was not protection provided for all Americans? For the last 2 years, we've been told that brokers like myself are evil, health insurance companies are evil because they deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions. And that's a true statement. But that only affects 10% of the American insured. How many is that? That's 14 million self-employed individuals in this country. If you get sick on an individual health insurance policy, you can't get another policy. Why? Because they'll decline you for pre-existing conditions. Now, is that the insurance company's fault? No, it isn't, because the insurance company is following the law that was written by an incompetent federal legislator. Let me ask you a question. Why would Congress leave out protection for 14 million Americans? Why didn't they give HIPAA portability protection to all Americans in this country?
Written by the lobbyists. Gentlemen, wake yourself.
Yes, sir. That's why. So let me ask you a question. Do we need 2,700-page health care legislation, or do we just need one sentence? And that sentence says that all people who buy their policies on the individual market now are protected under existing portability laws.
That's too simple.
Yeah.
Right, that's correct. That's just too simple. Instead, we have to write a 2,700-page health care bill. Let me tell you a little bit about how that's affecting the health insurance industry. Does anybody know what a minimal loss ratio is? In 6 months from today, all insurance companies in America under the Health Care Reform Act have to start operating on a 15% total operating margin. So instead of operating on the 30%, which is where most insurance companies do, they now have to cut that total operating margin by 15%. What does that mean? After the legislation was signed, Humana fired 4,000 employees. Why did they do that?
Instead of cutting the CEO's pay by back,
That's a good question, sir, and I actually agree with you. If you look at one of the biggest companies in America, United Healthcare, 1% of their actual profits are held from within the company. Shareholders, the CEO himself. Most of United Healthcare's profits are held by all of you. those of you who hold private retirement portfolios. That's what drives insurance companies. That's why they call it a publicly held insurance company. So if you demonize a health insurance company, you're demonizing the American people who are funding.
That is illogical. The American people are not the American Health Insurance Association.
Do you have any insurance companies in your retirement portfolio, sir?
Don't argue with the
Most
market.
Americans don't have a retirement portfolio.
Most Americans don't have a retirement portfolio.
No,
That's
it's
right.
not with the market.
I understand. Okay.
Hey, you know, if the healthcare system was so great before this law, how come,
I'll let you think about your next one. Okay, so now, if we could solve it with one sentence and there are no more pre-existing conditions, then why do we write such a large piece of legislation?
Communists.
Lobbyists?
Communists.
He says communists? I would agree with probably all those things.